We are close to the release of the next Nintendo home console, the Nintendo Switch 2. Hey everyone, Kingdom Kid here, just to kind of talk about some of the things I'm looking forward to seeing, possibly seeing at the Switch 2 event that Nintendo is having on April 2nd here. I'm very much looking forward to it. As you all know, the Nintendo Switch is massively popular. It came out of the gate swinging. It had some incredible games that came out within its first year. As a matter of fact, one of the biggest games that came out was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the next installment in the Legend of Zelda series. And Nintendo Switch has had a great life cycle, and I don't think it's slowing down. Yes, the console is only just a little bit over 8 years old. It came out on March 3rd, 2017, and we're in April right now. We're about to be in April, so it's 8 years and a month old. So there's still much life left in this baby, as we all saw from the Nintendo Direct that happened less than a week ago from the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So it does go to show that Nintendo is going to still support the Switch, as not everyone's probably going to pick up a Switch 2 right away. And of course, there's probably not going to be that many just exclusive Switch 2 games coming out, that might warrant it, which might be what they might change as compared to when the Switch 1 originally came out. Like I mentioned, the Switch 1 did come out with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that game also came out on the Wii U, the previous console before it. Now, I think Nintendo might learn from this mistake, because then the next kind of exclusive game was Mario, and that was a few months later. And of course, that was like the big hit names. Obviously, you had some other games that came out as well, but those were like the big ones. And now, throughout the entire year of the Switch, and so many great things about it, maybe they don't have to have big names to it. There's definitely going to be some games that come out too, which obviously I think one of the biggest games and will be the system seller for its early first few months is going to be Mario Kart 9. I am about 90% sure that Mario Kart 9 will be coming out the same day as the Switch 2, and they will be showing it at this presentation. Although we don't know how long this presentation is going to be, I don't remember seeing them saying if it has a specific length or not. I'm going to assume it's going to be at least 30 minutes to at most an hour, maybe even 45 minutes. But it's still exciting to see a new console coming out. I remember when the Switch was announced and that whole not debacle, but like that whole thing was happening. It was great. It was fantastic. But I think we're definitely going to get some great reveals in this. Now, obviously, I feel like majority of this presentation will be showing the Switch 2 components. Talk about the Joy-Cons, how it's different, how it's a little bigger, how it difference between the Switch, its predecessor, and itself. Obviously, it already looks bigger, as we saw in the announcement trailer that's playing throughout this entire video, and how different the Joy-Cons are as well. I'm also hoping they will most likely show how games look on the original Switch, and then those same games, not an updated version, it's the Switch version of this game, how it plays on the Switch 2 as well, because we do know the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible with most games. There's going to be some exceptions to that rules, most so like Nintendo Labo games, because that's more so for that, and probably like Ring Fit and stuff like that. But I'm excited for that. They're probably also going to announce enhanced versions of Nintendo games. I know during the Direct they kind of did have something on the website talking about how there's a possibility of, kind of similar to when the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox came out, how if you bought a PlayStation 4 version of this game, you kind of got the PlayStation 5 version of that game for free. They only did that for a few of the games, and then later down the line, a couple of these games now got like, just pay an extra $10 and you get the PlayStation 5 version as long as you still have the PlayStation 4 version, I'm curious as to how Nintendo is going to handle that. I highly doubt they will give you the free upgrade or the upgrade for free as a whole. Like, I have the Nintendo Switch version of Breath of the Wild, so when they release the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild, I'm going to get that for free as like a digital download. That's kind of also how I think they're doing that whole with the virtual cartridge thing that they also announced during the Switch presentation. But again, I highly doubt it's going to be free. It will probably come at like a cheaper price than buying it on your own. But that's something I'm pretty sure they're going to show. What else? We already talked about Mario. Mario Kart will be a system seller, but what about another game? I don't think they're going to have the next Legend of Zelda game at all. They might show something Legend of Zelda related, and that is the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD remakes or remasters from the Wii U days. Those are still the only games that you can only play on the Wii U, which is what a lot of people are keeping their Wii U for. And if this is one of the games that's like kind of going to be launching alongside the Switch 2, there you go. And this is also one of those games that seems like it could have a Switch version and a Switch 2 version along the way. Mario Kart 9, I feel like, is going to be a for sure only Switch 2 game, because the Switch had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that is probably the #1 selling Switch game of all time. Obviously, they're probably going to show some online stuff. I don't know if they'll show different, Nintendo online games, as in like part of the, the NES, the Game Boy Advance, stuff like that. I don't know. I talked to one of my friends. They were like, well, maybe they could show GameCube, and that can only be done on the Switch 2 version of the NSO, Nintendo Switch Online, which is going to be interesting. I'm going to be curious how they will differentiate how online will work for Switch in terms of that, because it can't be a whole like, well, it's the same one on both. And obviously, like the Switch 2 should have the exact same one as the Switch 1 does, but will the Switch 2 have anything different? And will the Switch only have what it currently has, but then Switch 2 has like start getting GameCube games and maybe some DS games? How that will work with DS, I'm not entirely sure. That's a whole thing. I've heard a rumor about a C-Stick on the Switch 2 that could be like, there's like a C button that will connect to the old Switch, and then you can do it as like a DS type of thing. I don't get that. I don't think that'll actually work. And it's a rumor anyway, and I literally only heard about it in a chat, in a Twitch chat, so I highly doubt it. I'm curious about other games that we might get release dates for. I know we saw a little bit of Metroid Prime 4 during the Switch Direct, but I'm actually curious if we'll see more of that in here and get a possible release date, a solid release date for Metroid Prime. And obviously, I wonder if we'll see any third-party games. Again, something that we saw during the Switch Direct with some games that didn't get release dates. And I wonder if a couple of these games that did get release dates will also be having Switch 2 versions, or if it's just like Switch-only versions, which again, nothing wrong with that. And obviously, just any new games at all is always going to be a plus for me. But again, I don't think they're going to show too much of games. They will show, I believe, they will probably show games that will be coming out around the same time as the Switch 2 coming out, which I've heard rumors, and I've always been feeling this way anyway. I think it will release in June is the earliest, and August as the latest, maybe even September. I can kind of go to, it's like, okay, maybe September. So anywhere between June and September will be the release of Switch 2, which I'm very looking forward to as well, whenever that comes out. And of course, like I said, they'll mention all the other games, or how many games will come out, and what will all be in there. One of the things I would like to see come back would be actual themes, kind of similar to what the 3DS had on their thing. The Switch only had 2 color themes, white and black. They never updated to any other changes like that. Even if the Switch 2 themes has even more color options, that's already a plus. But I kind of hope they have kind of visual themes. I know the 3DS kind of had special themes where it would have music playing from whatever game that was, or kind of retro themes. That would be nice as a thing they could show. And, kind of makes the Switch unique to whoever is owning it. How it will work between, they'll definitely show, you have data on your Switch, but you want to put it on your Switch 2, how that will work. And I wonder if it'll be somewhat similar, if I have it on my Switch 2, is it something I'm always have to go move back and forth? Because there might be some games I want to keep on my Switch, or some games that I play on my Switch 2, but then I want to play on my Switch again. But I'm curious how they're going to work with the save data, or is it all tied to your user account, which I believe that's always been the case, is that as like your Nintendo user is what kind of holds the saves in a way. I'm not entirely sure how it works that way, but I'm curious if that's how they plan to do it. It's just the Switch is tied to the user account / Nintendo ID that's on there. And that's another thing, how friends lists and everything will work and how you add friends. Are they going to change it a little bit where you don't have the friend code, and if it's a whole other way that you can add friends? Maybe they'll have like a QR code. I know like Pokemon Go kind of has QR codes where it's like, oh, just scan this and you're friends with that person. And I know other places have that too. Or it's a whole like, hey, if you just have their online name, I know you can change your name, so that's probably why they want to keep like some kind of like a friend code thing. Unlike with PlayStation and Xbox with gamer IDs, those you can't change, but with your Nintendo Switch, I believe you can change like the name of your person if you still have an online account. So I'm curious as to see how they're going to do that as well. And like I mentioned before, again, when it comes to the games, I don't think they're going to reveal too many games. They probably will mention some games that will release on Switch 2. Like I said, Metroid Prime 4 will probably be a game that will have a Switch 2 version. Will it come out the same day as the Switch 1 version? I guess it all depends on when they release Metroid Prime 4. Like I said, there's still no announcement of that game's release date. And they could also shadow drop Metroid Prime 2 and 3 that day too. They'd be like, oh, here's to tie you over for Metroid Prime 4, which is releasing later in the year in October. Today we have Metroid Prime 4 dropping right now, or Metroid Prime 2, excuse me, a remaster of Metroid Prime 2, kind of similar to what they did with Metroid Prime 1. Here's Metroid Prime 2, and then next month, or like maybe in around the same time that Switch 2 comes out, it's like, here's Metroid Prime 3, so then people can be caught up with the Metroid Prime series. I know what I like that because I like Metroid Prime 1 and I like to play Metroid Prime 2 and 3 as well. And of course, other games too. Like I said, third party, there could be a couple third party games that might be ready to come out. Nintendo has been meticulous when it comes to the recent releasing the game. Going all the way back to when Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out. Even like, oh yeah, this game's done and we have so much done with it, we're actually going to pull it forward a bit. It's instead of releasing in September, it's releasing in June or whatever the thing was. I can't remember what the original release date was, but then they pulled it to, you know, a month or two earlier. Nintendo seems to have this whole like, oh, we have these games done, they are ready, you just need to say, Nintendo just needs to say when they are going to come out. It's been like that for a while. I think that was the same with the Mario and Luigi Brothership game. I think that game's been done since like the early 2024, but then they announced it and then it's like, oh yeah, then it's coming out there, which I kind of like that in a way. It's like, hey, we have these games done, as in like basically almost complete, you know, they're just, you know, fine tuning it, and then all right, just say we are ready, or if you're ready to have it come out, we're ready to show it and everything. I like that for games to like have a way to be like, oh, we are ready for these games. Even though there were a couple games during that last Direct that were like, oh, these are 2026 games, I'm still okay with, you know, showing games coming out later, especially like those kinds of games that they show, like Rhythm Heaven and the Tamagotchi Life Living the Dream games. Those are kind of like, I wouldn't really say they're first party. I mean, the Tamagotchi one might be a first party, I'm not entirely sure, but I know for sure Rhythm Heaven is not, because I think that's Bandai Namco. So I might be mistaken on that, but it's still nice to be like, oh yeah, we have these games ready and they will launch very soon or very close to when we show them. Like the AI the Somnium Files game that just got revealed as well. Raido Kusunoha HD remaster coming out too. They're like, oh yeah, here it is. And that goes along with the developers as well behind it too. If they are fine with, hey, don't show off anything yet. Let us be the one to show it off. And, you know, that's a whole good thing with Nintendo and its third-party developers as well. I really like that. So, any games? Do I think we're going to get big games? Like, could we get a new Xenoblade game? I know Xenoblade Chronicles X just dropped literally the last 2 weeks of March, and now they're going to announce Xenoblade Chronicles 4. maybe that could be one of those things that like, hey, we're working on it type thing. It's nowhere close to being ready, but we just want you to know it's getting worked on. And while you're at it, enjoy all the Xenoblade Chronicles games. It doesn't even have to be Xenoblade Chronicles. They could straight up be like, oh, here's Xenosaga, or here's Chronicles, or not Xeno Chronicles, whatever the other one is. Xenogears. Here's Xenosaga and Xenogears. Here you go. Like, they're being worked on and such too. Like, anything like that would be incredible. Any other big games? I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, we got the Mario Kart. We get a 3D platforming Mario game? We could. Legend of Zelda, would we get anything besides Wind Waker and Twilight Princess? Maybe. Or will we even get that? Will we just get something entirely? I don't think it's going to be the next big Legend of Zelda game. If anything, it's probably going to be somewhat similar to Echoes of Wisdom in a way, where it's kind of like not really a side game, but kind of like a game that's like not as ambiguous or as ambitious as Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom was. I still think we'll get that. Maybe they have an entirety remake of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time ready to go for Switch 2. Could you imagine if they have something like that? Like an Ocarina remake? That would be incredible. That would also be a system seller. It's like, okay, here's, Mario Kart 9, which will sell millions. Not only games, but consoles as well. But then here's Legend of Zelda, and that's going to be for the people that's like, yeah, they might like Mario Kart, but they're like, oh, I don't think I'll get the console for that. But as soon as they would announce, here's Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time HD remake, remaster, whatever, for Switch 2 only, that is going to sell billions of Switches, because everyone loves The Legend of Zelda, and especially everyone loves Ocarina of Time. And again, they could just straight up shadow drop Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess as well. Like, there could be stuff they are just going to shadow drop that day too, or within that month. That's like, oh yeah, here's this game too. And then same with the Switch 2. It's like, here's Switch 2, and then, here's bundles of, here's just the Switch 2, and then here's Switch 2 with, 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online, or here's Switch 2 with Mario Kart 9, and here's Switch 2 with Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, or whatever. They're probably also going to have another, Switch sports type thing. Hopefully more closer to how the Wii Sports was, but I digress. So yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to send out this quick video, although it's not really quick as I'm looking at the time screen of my video here, or my audio. But yeah, I just want to make this video to be like, hey, it's coming. It's literally in 2 days if this comes out on the 31st, which I plan on it. So it's incredible, and I can't wait to see what Nintendo has in store for us on the 2nd of April. I will be reacting to that, and I will hopefully be uploading that reaction as soon as possible once I am done with it. But I'm very looking forward to it. And again, just seeing all the hardware stuff for it too is going to be incredible. Just to like see what its powerful is. I know it's rumored to run as powerful as the PlayStation 4, which is fantastic. Everyone keeps downplaying that. I was like, oh, it's a PlayStation 4. It's like, yeah, but like, has there been any game that's really been pushed on like PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox? I don't think so. It's like, yeah, no. I'd be very excited to see, a Switch 2 that runs like a PlayStation 4. And maybe, kind of going back to third party, maybe they'll actually have physical games of the Kingdom Hearts games instead of all cloud versions. I might pick that up. It kind of all depends, I think this might be very carried by third party games more so than first party. First parties will be there. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, you will get Mario Kart 9, maybe a new 3D platformer for Mario, maybe Zelda. It'll be incredible. I can't wait, and I'm very looking forward to this, as I hope you all are as well. But let me know what you guys are thinking that the Switch 2 announcement could have and everything about it. I am very looking forward to it as well. All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you guys in a few days for the Switch 2 Direct. Take care.